I was just, well,
Did you send
Okay,
an
well,
email to tell them that it's open now? Sorry, I'm interrupting.
I did. I sent them an email to everybody that
Okay, good.
I think I did anyway. The way things are going, who knows?
Exactly.
I was just gonna say, do you want me to still do it today or do you want to wait and do it at a later date?
No, absolutely. We'll do it and we'll record it and pass it on to everybody, Darlene.
And I like the
Um,
recording because then I can replay it and go slow.
mhm,
That I love that. Yeah.
um,
Mm. Okay.
well, just in case anybody doesn't remember Darlene, Darlene did a presentation for us a little while ago. If you ever look on, well, we belong to the Brandon Camera Club together, and she's also belongs to the Manitoba Camera Club. And Darlene does a lot of composites using masking. And so she was kind enough to say that she would do a presentation for us, even though next Wednesday she's leaving for Budapest. She still had time to fill this in for us.
Budapest. Wow.
That's why I'm trying to get all this stuff done before
Oh, we'll
I
talk later.
visit going.
I was there. My husband's Romanian, so we went a
Oh,
number of years
okay.
ago. You'll love it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk later.
Darlene has a son that's in Germany
Mhm.
and family, and so she's off to Germany and the Netherlands and Budapest and a river cruise and all the rest of it. So,
Nice. Nice.
anyways,
Okay.
Darlene, the platform is yours.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I have to share my screen. Let's see if I can do that now. Um, so just at the bottom, share, uh, entire screen, I think. Let's see if this all works the way it should.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like I need to minimize or do something with this. There we go.
Yep, we got your screen there now.
I'll see if I can open Photoshop. I don't know whether I've got an icon for it, so I'll just go
Mhm.
in here. Oops. Okay, there we go. There we go. It's going, it's going. So when Brian asked me to talk about masking, I do use a lot of masking in Photoshop because um, in just 1 second, I'm going back for something else here. Sometimes I hear people saying they'll be putting some layers together and so on, and they'll be talking about how um, they're erasing. And you really don't want to erase because it's a destructive form of editing. But when you mask, you can always go back later and change things. So, for example, this I've got a few composites that I've done, and this one was the Manitoba Camera Club Challenge, where you were to um, take a very bland picture and change it however you wanted. So I did a number of things on this one, and I can go back because I kept the PSD file. I can always go back and make changes. So if I decide, oh, I don't like this girl flying through with the geese, I can just remove her, or I can go in and change the masks that I've used. So we'll just go through a few that I've done, where I've very obviously, come on here, you quit going. Fun with my red chair. And again, this is all in layers and I could go in at any time and change it. This one I really had fun doing. It was a multiple exposure. So the original picture was the nine, I think there's 9 windmills there. And then after I got working on, I went, well, that's kind of blah in the foreground. And I'd gone by a herd of Texas Longhorns that afternoon. So I just tried adding them in and wow, I was pretty happy with this one when I got it done. So just it's just a way to combine your pictures and do some different things. Here I am having lunch in the clouds. And I use myself as a model quite often because I just always seem to be there and available.
Ooh, I love that one, that last one. Mhm.
The this one with the moose,
Yeah, that's so
yeah.
cool.
This was, raining raining cats, and I have a cat umbrella. And it was raining when I took this picture. And then, of course, I added some rain. And with masking, you can do all this and go back in and change. This is one of my favorite ones done out in the desert in Carberry or at Spruce Woods. So this Danny just did all these poses. You didn't have to ask him. Every 2 seconds he changed to a new pose. And I thought I'd like to incorporate these into a composite, which I did, and using blending modes and then also lowering the opacity of these of him, up at the top here, these three poses all have a lower opacity as if he's just kind of this mysterious coming out of the clouds guy. Okay, so we'll get out of that program. Go back to Photoshop. So what I wanted to show you today was how to put a couple of pictures together and make a composite. And then we'll do another one, which will be adding texture to Brian's favorite, a flower picture. Okay.
I couldn't tell one flower from another flower, and Darlene knows that. That's where that's coming from.
So the most important thing to remember when you're doing masking is, and you might want to write this down, that black reveals, white conceals. Okay, so I'm going to bring up that one.
While you're bringing it up, how did you learn? Like, what was your process to learn all this? Was it from YouTube videos or did you take a course?
There were no YouTube videos when I started Photoshop. There was hardly even internet then. So my friend and I, my friend Jim Atkinson, who's since passed away, we worked together the long winter nights. We just hung on the phone saying, "Did you try this? If you go to this menu and click this and then try this." And we had a book learning Photoshop in 24 hours, which never happened. It was 24 1 hour lessons in a book. So there were no YouTube videos. There was no internet presence then to learn from. So just started from scratch and learned it. And then eventually Jim and I taught it at Assiniboine Community College in the evening in adult education. And so we just have to keep coming up, keeping one step ahead of the students all the time. Okay, so I wanted to make a composite. This is my final, what I'm going to end up with if all goes well this afternoon. And I have to go back just a second and open one more. This is it. So I came across this old, I think it was actually a chicken coop or a grain, I think it was a chicken coop actually. And we're just going to get rid of this guy for the moment. And then I thought, well, maybe I could add something in the foreground here to make it more interesting. And that same day, I'd come across a flock of sheep in a slightly different location and with not a very good background. So I thought, well, maybe these two will work. And as it turns out, I haven't adjusted them or done anything, and they went together really well. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that these are the same size, and I made them a bit smaller than I normally would just because um, I'm trying to save bandwidth here. So I just made them 14 inches at 200 pixels. Normally I'd do 300 pixels for my own work. Okay, so you can see that up at the top for the crop. And just crop your images down or make sure they're all the same size when you go to use them. So these two are now the same size and the same resolution. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go to my notes so I make sure I don't miss telling you anything. Um, I think when I did the original, the sheep were going the other way, so I flipped them. You can just do edit, transform, and flip horizontal or flip vertical. So I flipped them horizontal so that they would be going, they fit into the picture better. So I've already done that. I'm going to put the sheep over top of the of the little structure here. So get the move tool and you use V, or the move tool, just click on it up on the upper left. And when you go to move it, hold down Shift and then click and just drag it onto the picture. And then it's right on top of the other image. And the reason you hold Shift, it centers the picture. And so in this case, we don't necessarily need it centered, but lots of times you do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, this is layer 1, and I'll just label it sheep. And we want to lower the opacity just so we can see where we want to put them. And you can see then the granaries coming from underneath. And I think we'll put them just in right about there. That should work. Uh-oh. Something just disappeared, like all my toolbars and stuff. What's going on? Come on, come on. Oh, there we go. Isn't that weird? Weird things happen on Zoom. Okay. So the thing now, we need to just have the sheep. We don't need a bunch of this other stuff around. So we're going to mask everything out. Everything we don't want, we're going to mask out. So when I make sure I'm on the sheep layer and then go down here, can you see the bottom of my layers palette? And there's a square.
Yes.
And it says, if you hover there, it says layer masks. And there'd also be a little lesson there if you wanted to use that. So now I've got a mask. And remember, black reveals and white conceals. So over here in our color swatches, you might want to hit default. And that puts white on top. And we want black on top. So then hit X. And that will change your color swatches, or use this little arrow here, the double-sided arrow. So we've got our color is black. We're going to take a brush, and it's B for brush. And when I hit B, I've got my brushes up at the top. And I want a soft round one for this. So I'll just select that. And all your brushes are in here. So you can change the size up here. I don't like doing it there, so I just click back on my picture and use the square bracket keys. So the right bracket, square bracket key will make your brush larger. I'm just hitting it. And the left bracket key will make your brush smaller. So right now we'll start with a bigger brush because we want to get rid of all this stuff up here. Before you start using your brush, check the opacity. Right now, I want everything to be removed, so I'm going to have 100%. My brush will take everything off. So when I click here, it's removing all the stuff around the sheep. And my sheep are still up too high, so I'm going to take the move tool and just move them down so they're in this. You know, for some reason, it doesn't like that. I lose my, come on, come back.
We don't see it anyway. We're not seeing any.
Are you not seeing the outside of my, are you not seeing Photoshop?
We're seeing Photoshop, but we're not seeing
Yeah.
other tools when you move it down. Is there?
Oh, okay. When I move it down, I lose all my tools and everything
No,
on the
no, we
side.
still see the tools on the side.
Okay. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. I know. I'll double click the hand and it makes my picture fill the space. Let's see if that's going to do it for me. There, we seem to be not too bad. I think if the sheep are about there, it'll work out good. Okay, so you can see over here on the edge, I've missed some, so I'm going to hit B for brush again and just keep working down in here. Make my brush a little bit smaller. My opacity is still at 55%, so I'm going to bring the opacity up now of the sheep because I've got them where I want them. And we can just start working in here. The grass is a little bit different color than what was underneath. I'm just going to hit X, and that'll reverse my colors over here. And I'm just going to put that grass back in there, okay? Just for the moment, because I'm going to move this over to the edge just for simplicity today, just because I didn't make my grass the same color. Okay, we're going to go back to black. So I'll hit X, and that puts black as my foreground color. Now I want to take some of these posts and things out of here. We'll just kind of blend around, get rid of some of the grass from the sheep that's around. But you see how that's blending in pretty nicely. There's barbed wire there, so we'll get rid of it. Now, something I didn't point out, we're going to go over and look at the layers palette here. So you see where I've brushed out, it's gone black here. That means I've removed these pixels on the sheep layer. Over here, when you're using a round brush, it'll sometimes bleed into what you're into your area because it feathers it out. So I can see that my sheep is was a little bit fuzzy around the edges. So this is the beauty of masking. I could fix that. If I wanted to go back now and add in this fence post, if I was erasing, I would have to go back in my history. And maybe it was 10 steps ago that I did that. And you'd have to have your history. As soon as you shut a picture down, even in Photoshop, the history is gone. But with masking, there it is. So that's why you should mask and not erase. Okay, so we'll go back to X so that we have black here because we want to take out this fence post. And so some of this is going to get pretty fiddly, but you can see where I'm going with it. And we'll go down, take that fence post out. And then in here, there's something kind of funny going on. So you could keep messing with this until you get it exactly how you like it. If you zoom in, it's easier to see what you're doing. But we've done not bad. I can see a bit of green on this sheep, so I'll take my brush again and make it a bit smaller. When you make it smaller, there isn't so much, oops, Control Z, and here we're gonna paint that back in by, whoops, just a sec. Come on. I'll use white because I made a mistake there and bring it back in. And now we need black to just come in a little bit closer, bring the green into the sheep there a bit. And you can see there's barbed wire down here, so you can mess around and get rid of all kinds of things just by bringing in. But I think the grasses are blending not too badly. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. It's very good.
Okay, so there's your first thing. So what you would do now is save this because you don't want to lose your work. Oh, shoot, just a sec.
You save it as a Photoshop?
Yeah, you'd save it as a Photoshop file. So I'll just put practice here so that I can get rid of it after. So if you save it as a Photoshop, well, you know, I spelled that wrong, but that's okay. If you save it as a Photoshop file, you can go back next year and still go in and say, oh, well, I see there's kind of a funny line here, so let's fix that. And we'll change the color again, get the brush. I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to bring back a little bit of maybe something in here, you know? So there's all kinds of things that you can try. So then I thought, well, the sky looks, oh, look at here. You can see the line where I masked it off before and I didn't get it all. So I'm going to go back over that and just make sure I got everything. Now to see what's left, let's get rid of this layer. We just turned it off and you can see here, I've missed a bit and around here and over on the edge. And these are things you can't see because it's being covered up by the other picture. Okay, let's go and see how that is. Oh yeah, that's good. Somehow I took something off down here when that I didn't really mean to. So I'm going to put it back. I can paint that back with white. So there you are. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm just going to hit Control S to save that again because I made some changes and it'll save as a Photoshop file. I was going to open, I don't think I already opened this, did I? No. So I've got some birds that I thought maybe we'll add some birds in the sky. And you can see they're flying the wrong way. They should fly from right to left to kind of bring your eye in with the sheep. So I'll just crop that to make sure it's the right size, make sure it's the same size as the other ones. And then I'm going to go edit. Okay, I have to select everything. Control A selects it so that it can be flipped. So edit, transform, and I'm going to flip horizontal. So there's my ducks flying the right way now. And then I think we'll make a selection of these and just bring a bunch of them in. We don't need to be masking out everything. Um, Oops. Just make a really. I'm all selected, so I had to go Control deselect. Hold on. Yeah, I think I'll select just in here, just take this big group. Oh, darn. Okay. And take the move tool. And again, we don't need to hold down shift because it doesn't really matter. So these are way too big. And to change that, we'll do Control T and we'll just slide them in and make them about the size we want in the sky.
What is, oh, here, what is that? I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is that tool in Photoshop now that you can drop an image in? Um, I've never been able to figure out how to use it. I'm looking right now to see what it's called. It like drops it right in what you're doing, but it does it for you. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
where I could just select the subject.
It's called, yeah, something. Uh,
So just,
uh, I'm gonna find it while you're.
yeah, just while you're looking. So I'm going to hit the magic wand and get rid of, I'm going to get rid of all that sky behind and I'll just delete that. And I'm just left with the birds. So I will now unselect everything.
Okay, Darlene, you hit the magic wand there.
Mhm.
And how did it separate between the birds and that gray colored sky?
It just, I'm going to go back to
Yep.
there. What I did, I clicked on, I'll deselect. Okay. So what I did, I clicked on the gray. If I clicked on the black, it's going to try and select black. That's
Okay.
okay. So I'm going to Control Z. This is the gray, and I'm just going to click on it. And it picks all the gray and it outlined the birds because they're not gray.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I hit delete to get rid of those pixels. And you can see in here, I'll zoom in a bit. You can see here between these two birds, it didn't catch on to that.
Mm-hmm.
So now with the magic wand, if I hit there, it just takes that spot and I delete that one. Okay, so
Yep.
it picks the same colors basically. So these, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to blend them in or do anything. We just have them the way they are. I think there's too many of them. So let's add a layer mask. And maybe keep these three. So I'm just gonna do I need black as my foreground color and I'll have my brush And I'm going to get rid of these ones that have their wings down. Get rid of these. One, two. We could have four, I guess. We'll get rid of these two. And they maybe look like they're down a little low, so I can move them up and I can go Control T, make them a little bit smaller because they are off in the distance, but just having them there to give.
Darlene, it's called auto align layers or auto blend layers. Do you ever do anything with those?
No, I don't.
Because I think that's I don't, and I want to learn how to do that because I've seen it done on Instagram somewhere, and it
Oh yeah.
automatically blends the two, like it would put the birds on, but I've never been able to master it. So
Okay. I'll
let's
have to.
figure it. Yeah, look it up. Mhm.
One thing in Photoshop, there's always different ways to do everything. There's
Of
probably three different
course.
ways to do every step that I've
This
done.
is and this is a new thing. I think that came
Yeah.
with the last. I'm using the beta version. I don't even. Maybe it's not only in the beta version. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of new stuff all the time. Just incredible. So I would say, I'm going to move these down just a tad. That's kind of our final
Good.
image now, and we've got three layers. So we started with the background. We added the sheep and masked out parts that we didn't want so that we just have the sheep and some of the grass in the foreground, and then added some birds in. So now I'll just go Control S and save that again.
And I have another question.
Mhm.
So because I'm sometimes destructive and I flatten layers and then I save them because I want them to be smaller. But I've also used stamp layer, invisible or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
I don't understand really what that does. It makes another layer. That I just want to ask your opinion or your what a stamp layer is to you. Like if I wanted to just stop now and make a stamp layer, I can still go back, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of these ducks out of here. No. And then I click on all three of these layers at once. And I'm not sure if this is going to give us what I wanted, but if I go Control Alt Shift E, that's
That's
everything.
it.
So now I've got another layer and I'm not just sure that keeps these ones below. And I can't see, did that make it any smaller?
I don't know. I call yeah, a stamp layer basically, and I use TK9, which has a shortcut for it, which I love because I can never remember all those the keys you have to use.
So
Um,
just remember this 63.2 megs is what we're at with that stamp layer.
yeah.
Now can I move you guys out of the road? Yeah. And I'm just going to go back here. And it was 48.3, so that wasn't saving me any space there.
No. So I
But
wonder
no,
what the purpose of a stamp layer is. That's what I guess my bigger question
I
is.
think like with this one, it's so I can have this layer here, this picture the way it is to work on, but underneath I've still got
Still have
ex
all the layers, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
so going forward, you wouldn't have those layers, but you would have whatever you build on that stamp layer.
that's right.
Yeah, that just answered my question. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's really difficult to keep the file sizes down, and I know what you're saying. You try to save space, and then you can't go back as
yeah,
far as you want to go back. So
yeah.
if you can keep this Photoshop file, like next year, I could come and say, "Well, I don't really like those birds, or I missed something else here. Maybe I left some barbed wire." I can still go in and
Fix
I
it.
can put
Yeah.
the fence back. I can do whatever I want, but at least you can go back and redo things. But when you erase, the very first thing that we removed with masking, you can't go back and restore that with erasing because it would be too far back in your history by now.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Do you ever worry about the light, the different light, like the way the light is hitting those birds? I'm not an expert at that. That's why I ask that. Because
Oh,
I
that's
think
a good question. I was thinking about that when I was doing this because the barn or the chicken coop, whatever it is, there's some shade here. And so the sun was coming more from the front and the shadows under my there it's done it again. Okay.
Yeah, it would be coming more from the back, right? The light.
The light is coming from in front of the sheet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So just the way that worked. Yeah, you should probably be a little more careful what you choose as your background when
I
you're,
guess if you only if you were using it for competition, because somebody would pick
yeah.
up on it. Like I never do. I never can pick up on stuff like that.
And
Yeah,
you know, when you look down here, there's shadows here in
yeah,
the, under the bushes.
yeah.
And so that is part of the chicken coop scene. And so that kind of matches what's around the sheep, doesn't it?
Mm, mm,
You know, like here, sh
yeah,
shadows going out. They were both taken kind of around noontime. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, now let me see. And again, I've lost you. I don't know. I've never had that happen before on Zoom. So let's see why. Where's my mouse?
We see the mouse.
And I don't see the mouse. There it is. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to save this just to be sure, and then I'll X out of that one.
Okay.
So any other questions on that one before we move
No.
on?
Nope, that's great.
Okay. So I think we'll do a second example of putting a texture over top. Um, so I'm going to use a flower picture for this because you often do that. And we'll go back to, so I'm going to bring in this peony, this texture for the moment. Okay, so with this one, this is already, as you can see in the layers, this is a PSD file. Ah, I know what I did here. Okay. And so what had happened, I had this peony picture like this, and the background's really messy, really distracting. So I did a little Photoshop technique where I selected the peony, I blurred the background. Okay, so we've got a nice soft background to start work on. So that was just kind of the preamble to, what I did to fix this picture up before I started working on it. Just let me go back here. Sometimes I get a little mixed up which one I was using. Peony masking, fine. Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe I'll open that one, just see if that was, yeah, this is what we're going to end up with. So I'll just minimize that. Okay, so the first thing I did here, I'm going to get rid of some layers because go. I'll just get rid of them. Yep. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to make sure that I have all my pictures I'm working with the same size. Okay, so I just cropped that one to 14 at 200 DPI. Normally it would be 300 DPI. Now I have to find my other picture here, which is, this is the texture I chose in the end. I went through a lot. This always takes a lot of experimenting because I tried several and they just didn't work. So again, I'm going to take the crop tool and crop it to about the same size. The move tool, hold down shift, and this is where you want to center it. This will come up if you have different color profiles. And because this is a texture, it doesn't matter. You might want to be fussier if you were doing something else, but for a texture, that's okay. And I'll just get rid of this guy. So we've got our texture on top of everything, and this is where we go here, which is the blending modes. And I'm going to try, oh, soft light works well. Um, you just have to try them all. That is an overlay. Just go to my notes and see which one I used.
Darlene, while you're looking at that, you dragged it with the move tool and you used the shift to drop it?
No, you hold down the shift key, then you click on the move tool, and then you start to move, like then you start to move it.
Because I
Hold,
know how to, I always just move it and I never center it. So
yeah,
shift, then move.
yeah,
Okay.
and it should drop it right in the center, which is a lot handier than trying to match up the edges.
Okay, I'm writing that down so I forget. Shift, then move tool.
Okay, so you'd run through the different blend modes, like for example, if we go up to darken, nah, and we'll just go down through them. In this case, we want to be in this series where we've got overlay and soft light will make it softer. So you see the changes there. I like overlay, so we're going to stick with overlay. Now we have to mask out the flower on that. So we're going to add a layer mask by clicking that rectangle and make sure your color is black because black reveals. Take your brush and I'm going to do this 100% because I want it off the whole flower, whatever background is on there. So you see, I went over the edges there just because I'm not being very careful right now. If I was erasing, I would have to go back in the history and get rid of everything I've done since I got started in there. Make this a bit smaller.
Where do you get your overlays from? Do you just buy them or do you find them free
I've
ones?
had a lot of free ones. I've been given a lot in courses, and you can make your own textures too. Last summer, I did a lot of textures when I was out, old barns, old granaries,
Yeah.
no grass or whatever, but a lot of these are just ones I got from various people. So I'm going to take that off the stem too, and some off this leaf. So up here I goofed, and so I want to put it back on. So I'm going to have to use white to bring back where I took too much off. It was it's kind of in this area here. Yeah, just check that edge. So you'd be a little more careful when you're doing this on your own. And so white brings it back. If I wanted to bring it back on this part of the stem, I just have to trace with white and it brought back the overlay. And
Beautiful.
then don't forget, you can always change the opacity. Let's maybe go to 60% and we'll make sure we've got black selected. So X to change those colors. So learn those shortcuts too, because it sure saves you time. So I'm just removing 60% like over here. Okay, so that'll be good for now. Then with this one, I thought maybe we would add some text on it. And Kayla, this is where I've got stuff from various sites, all kinds of samples of handwriting. So this one, we're going to make it same size. We'll have to make it smaller, of course. And I'm just going to drag it over because I don't care where it is at the moment. Pretty big. So Control T, and we'll make it smaller. Just see where we want to fit this in. These samples of writing are usually, they don't make a lot of sense, but they're really nice effect. So if we put it down in there, it kind of might fit into that space, bring it up a little bit. I'm leaving a bit of room on the edge because my idea is to put a border around here after. So with Photoshop, you'll be able to change that whenever you want. Oh, what happened there? Oh, I didn't transform it. I didn't press enter. When things go wrong, always just figure you didn't press enter when you were transforming something. I'll have it up about there. And I'm going to hit enter this time. Okay, so we've got this text, and I think the black is a bit harsh. So in this case, I can add an adjustment layer, which is this black and white little symbol down here. And we'll maybe do hue and saturation. So that went above layer 2, which is my text. I'll just name it so you can see. But I don't want hue and saturation to affect the whole photo. I want it to just affect the text. So this is kind of a tricky little thing and something that you might find handy though. Just hover on this line here and hold down your Alt key. And you see how I've got a little down arrow? And when I click, it's clipping that hue and saturation to the text. So any changes I make to hue and saturation will only show up on the text layer. It won't affect the flower below or the texture that we put on or anything.
What was that motion there, Darlene?
Okay, so you hover your mouse there and hold down Alt. Gee, what is that on a Mac? You'll have to translate it into.
It's also in the little box where when you pulled up hue and saturation, it's there on the bottom.
Oh
Right
yeah,
there.
there. You're right.
That's my easy way.
That's a really good tip. I'd never noticed that, Kayla.
Yeah,
So that would
yeah,
be good. Yeah. And I'd learned this other way where you hover and then press down
yeah.
Alt. But there, Brian, there's an easier
That's
way.
easier.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So we're going to change this to more of a blue. What's going on here?
Just the writing now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just the writing. It should be working. How come it's not working?
Uh,
Custom. I'm going to go into default. I thought that worked before, so kind of interesting that it's not now.
and you're on the mask,
There we
right?
go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the lightness happening, and I want it to be more blue.
Maybe
There.
because it's black. Yeah.
Now we're getting some color, so I'm going to bring it back down a bit.
Oh, that's good.
I ended up with a really nice blue.
Seems to lag a bit.
Oh, that could be it.
That's Zoom.
Yeah. It's always difficult on Zoom because it doesn't work the way it did when you were doing it before. Come on. It doesn't seem to want to be working, but you can change your colors in here. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time waiting for it to either catch up or me to figure it out. Go back to the blue. Got a bit darker and see. Okay. Well, we'll leave it as a gray for now. But you notice with the hue and saturation that there's also a layer mask thumbnail. And I'm going to, I could take that color off part of it if I wanted. But on the text, I'm going to click on the text and I'm going to put a layer mask there because I want to take some of this text out. So I'll use a brush about this size and I want to take it off the flower. Ooh, I got that set at 60, so let's go up to 100% again. And I want to take it off the peony. So we're going to make this more of a rough shape of text. And then maybe at the bottom, we'll just get rid of some. You can do whatever you like, whatever you think is going to look good here. Okay. If I wanted to bring some of that back, I do X and paint with white, and there it is. But I don't really like it on the flower. I want it to kind of be away from the flower, so we'll get rid of it there. Okay, so the next thing I should do is save this. So I just did the Control S, which is the shortcut, and it saved it. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add an edge. And these edges I got from various places. This one is a Photoshop edge, so it's got a couple of layers to it. And this is what it's like. I know I've sent a lot of the edges out to people if they need them, so I do have them. So again, let's make it the same size. And we're going to use the move tool, hold down shift because we want to center it. Oh, now I screwed up because it went underneath the hue and saturation. So I'm gonna, no. I think I better just do that step again. I got to make sure I'm at the top of the stack when I move that over. So there it is. We'll just do Control T to transform it and make it fit. Okay, now they changed the transform tool. So when I just click on it on any of these arrows and start pulling, it does the whole picture, all the sides. So you have to hold shift so that it doesn't change. It only does the up and down right now, for example. It used to be the opposite way and they made it simpler, I guess. So I'm holding down shift as I'm changing these edges so that so that they fit. Hit enter to transform. I think we're good here. This edges is in a folder. So I'm going to open it because there's a line, which is the line there, and there's an edge, just like that. So it kind of looks like it looks nice on there. We can add a hue and saturation there if we want. We could change the color of it that way. I'll just get rid of this guy. No. The other thing you could do with your edges is lower the opacity a bit if you think the black is too harsh. So you could do something like that so a little bit of the color bleeds out. Looks kind of nice like that. So that's basically what you do. If I flatten that now, I can't get at any of these. Go away. So there, I've flattened it, and now I don't have any of my layers. So you want to save two versions. You always want the Photoshop version so that you can go back and work on that. And then you want the
Hmm. I just
JPEG.
saw I just saw merge visible when you went to flatten it. So they must have just added that. Go to
Um,
flatten it. Did you see that? Isn't that
yeah,
the,
so
yeah,
I'm going to show you the two ways you can flatten. The old way, I used to go layer and then I'd go down here somewhere, way down here, flatten image.
yeah.
Okay,
So
and
isn't merge visible what I just was talking about before? Oh no, that was a stamp layer. Never mind. I just switched
stamp.
my,
I think that's something different.
that's
Well,
different.
then
Yeah.
I found out that if you go on the layers palette on these three little lines, you can go flatten image there,
Oh,
and it's a
yeah.
lot easier than having to go up
Mhm.
here. It's just a lot less of a movement to have to do that.
Yeah.
So I really like flattening from the layers palette. Okay, so that's what I've got on that one. But what I'm going to do is bring up the one I did. And this would be this guy so that you can see what I did. So I managed to change the text to this nice blue in here, which I couldn't do just because I was rushing. And I also made the edge here that little bit transparent so that the picture shows through and it's not so much of a harsh edge. It just kind of blends in with the whole thing. So it's a pretty big change from back then. Just keep turning
Nice.
stuff off from where I started to where I ended up.
Oh,
Yeah. I love the texture you added.
So if you're using textures, just keep trying them and you might want to use more than one. Like maybe I would add another texture on top of this before I put the edge and the text on. Lots of times I use a couple of textures. So any questions on that?
no. Great
Been
job.
asking as we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So do you guys want any more, or have you had enough for today to,
Oh, I can still soak some more in.
okay, I had one with hand coloring. Wait till I
My
find
daughter
my,
just told me I have another half an hour because her prescription has to be picked up, so I'm good.
oh, okay. Okay, this one won't take very long, and it's just a fun thing to be able to do. And I'll just,
Let us know if you ever want to share any of your textures that you got. I would love to get more. I made some in AI, which was kind of fun.
oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can always put together a few textures, but they sort of seem to come in groups from various people and or various places. And quite often they'll be given away or go on the internet. And I was on a free daily texture site at one time,
Oh,
and
cool.
there was a new texture that came out, and you just grab it and add it into your folder.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm collecting. So I've got quite a few. I got to now start using them.
Okay, let's go to this hand coloring, and this is the funniest picture. Um,
And coloring.
well, you know,
Oh, you had
many
this in a
years.
competition.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
So this was a triptych, and I saw this on the internet, and I tried it, and it's so funny because you got to take this as three separate pictures and then hope it all blends together in the end. So I just did his head and shoulders, and then I did his midsection, and then I did his feet, and you put
Funny.
them together. And there's somebody in Europe that does this quite regularly, just goes out and does these pictures and then puts them together like this. But it was the funniest thing. So I had it in color like this, and then let me see what I saved here. I changed it to black and white, and then what you would call hand coloring, I brought back the color in his glasses.
Mm.
Just when he was just black and white, it wasn't as interesting. So I'm going to open up this guy. So again, I've got my Photoshop file so I can see what I did. Okay, so the first thing I did was make a background copy, and I usually try to do that on my pictures so that I don't mess up the original. And you saw that with the peony where I blurred the background. I kept the original on the bottom. So always make a background copy, and you can do that simply by taking your background, dragging it to this little plus here, and that'll make a copy. So I'll just undo that because I've already got a copy. Then what I did, I put a black and white adjustment layer on it. So I can actually go through, let's see, the best thing for me to do. Bring this guy in. Okay. So I'll just show you. We're starting with our original picture. I'm going to make a background copy, or it's a duplicate layer. I think you can use Control J to do that as well. So now I'm not going to be touching my original. Now I decided to make it black and white, and the easiest way, and it's maybe not the best black and white, but I just did the filler adjustment layer and went black and white. And you can mess with this. It doesn't look too bad the way it is. You can go in, there's some presets if you wanted to have it like if it had a blue filter on it, or if it had high contrast red filter, it changes the look. For this demonstration, I'm just going to leave it at default. It doesn't look too bad. So then I said, well, I'd like to have a little bit of color because his glasses were kind of cool. So I can mask off the black and white right here. And I can just take my brush, and remember, black reveals. Just let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll show you two ways to do this. The one way would be to go in with your brush and just start painting at 100%. But I'm having to dodge around, like it's pretty easy to go over the line and add something in that you don't want. So we're going to go out of that. That isn't the best way to do it. I'm going to start at 30% painting in that pink so that I can decide how much I want. And the easiest way to get 30% is just hit 3 when you're in the opacity. Just a sec. When you're in your brush, if you want to change your opacity, there's 30%. If I hit 5, I've got 50%. And that makes it really easy to change it. If you hit 0, you'll get 100% again. So we're going to work at 30%, just removing 30%. But to avoid having to go around going over the lines and being so picky, let's take the quick selection tool, which is in the same palette here as the magic wand. We'll take the quick selection and it's going to select that area. Just a minute, it kind of went over a bit, so I'll make it a bit smaller and see if I can keep it from doing that. It didn't. So now up on the top here, I can minus it. And I want to take it off his glasses. There. Now we want to add some more onto that selection. So I'm going to quick selection and use the plus because I want to do the other lens here. And just one click, and it picked it pretty well, except right very top. And I just moved that back in. Okay, so we've got a selection that's just going to be his lenses. I'll take my brush, and it doesn't matter if I brush here over his mustache or his skin, you see, it doesn't affect it because only the selected area can be used at the moment. So I'm not lifting my mouse. As long as I don't click again, I'm only taking 30% off just this area. Now we could take a look. Well, it's not very bright. So let's do it again, and this will make it 60%. 30 and 30. We've got 60% of the pink back on. And if we want it all, just do it again, and it'll make it 100%. But you see, I can sneeze, I can make a slip and go anywhere. And if I'm not in that selected area, it's not removing anything. So it's kind of nice to make selections when you're doing fussy work. To get rid of the selection, what do I do? Who knows?
Deselect.
Yeah. So anybody know the shortcut?
D.
Control and D.
Yeah.
So select, I can deselect up there, but I'd rather just do Control D. So that's another shortcut that's really worth learning. So now we've got that. If we decided, well, we want something else in color here, like, I don't know, maybe the trumpet. We can take the brush and just start brushing. Let's do it at 100% though, so that we can really see. And so there, we're bringing back the trumpet. And because it's black around, I don't have to be very careful. So I'd have to bring his hands in there too. But I don't really like that. I like just having his glasses. They really become a focal point, and the eyes become really important. So I've done that, and if I want to get rid of it, again, I use paint with white. We just have to paint with white in this area, and we can take that, put it back to black and white. So that's how you can hand color a picture. If you're doing something to make it look old-fashioned, just do it at about 30% to start with, because that'll bring back a softer color. If there was a red underneath, it would bring it back as, it would look more like hand coloring. It would bring it back as a soft pink. And so that's how they used to hand color pictures. And you could do that on wedding pictures. It looks really nice on wedding pictures. Turn the picture to black and white, a picture of the bride, and then just bring her bouquet back in color, but not 100%. Bring it back at about between 30 and 50%. So the flowers are looking muted. It gives it that, I guess, that retro look. So that's how you can use masks for hand coloring. It's really effective and really easy. Any questions on that one?
No, that's really interesting.
Okay, so that would be three things for you to practice now. Go and find a couple of pictures that you think will blend together, like my sheep and the little shed, and do something like that to begin with. And then the second one, try a picture that you're going to add texture to, whether it's a flower or whether it's a scene, and take the texture away from parts of it. And then the third thing would be to try this hand coloring. It's pretty easy to do. But just think, like, if I wanted to go back now, if I'd erased this area up here, and if I wanted to go back to black and white, I would have to have a save copy because I probably have used up my history messing around doing a whole bunch of other things. Or I would have to lose a whole bunch of work I had done to be able to go back to, for example, taking the pink out of his glasses. So it's a really good way to learn to edit, and it's non-destructive, and it'll save you a lot of time in the end.
Very nice.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing now. Another time we could do, some text work with this, because if you wanted to put text behind a person or something, it works really well.
That was absolutely superb, Darlene.
Superb. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see what you end up doing, you guys.
Yeah.
So
I haven't done the camera club photos yet. Ugh, I'm so behind.
Oh, I haven't done any for the year-end thing, and I don't think I'll get them done.
I might do some digital ones. There's no way I have time to print anything, though I wanted to, but
Yeah, I've got no way to get them there, so I would just do digital. Maybe I'll go through some this weekend once
pick
we
a
get it.
couple old ones even. Yeah. Yeah.
You can use stuff that you've entered in the club during the year, can't you?
I don't know.
I
I
might
would
have to.
say challenge yourself and do something different, but like enter that flower. Like, yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, my peony.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Well,
you go. I'll just,
when I look at, like, Darlene has always had a creative mind.
Yeah.
I think I've told her that right from the time I joined the Brand Camera Club. I've always been amazed the way she can look at something and brings things together.
Yeah.
So the
Art.
peony
Yeah.
with the lettering, the text, and so on like that. Just kind of and then putting a border around the end of it and so on. I think this shows what the caliber of quality she does.
You're an artist. Yeah.
well,
Artistic.
thank you very much. And a lot of this you just learn by picking up on what other people are doing, and then you try something. Oh, that looks good, or you change it. Something just works. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, but just by accident. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
some nights I just give up and go to bed and go, oh my God, I have wasted the whole night and didn't do anything. And then other times it just all comes together.